Kiyosaki again, and we're going back to the Twitter updates on financial transformation. And we say transformation because our transformation is about this here. This is the book, probably the more popular books now is Cash Flow Quadrant, and it's about E, S, B, and I. And most people, as you know, are here, because they went to school. Their mom and dads are here. And my mom and dad were here. Very smart, really good people. My dad was a school teacher. My mom was a registered nurse. They're here, okay? So when they teach you, or your school teacher teaches you, they're making your head smaller, smaller. And your brain is unlimited. So the cash flow quadrant, why I say it's financial transformation, the transformation for me was when I met, so this was, let me say, this is poor dad, this was rich dad. So if I understand that, poor dad, rich dad. So when I was old enough to make up my own mind, like I said, I already had, by the time I was 27, I had two professions, very high paying professions. One, I could drive oil tankers or passenger liners all over the world, very high paying profession. Or I could have gone to fly for the airlines. The problem is I'd be here. And I don't like this position because it's not challenging. Once I knew how to fly, I was finished. Once I could drive a ship, I was finished. The most I was going to get to driving a ship was to be a captain. And the most I was going to get to for flying a plane, same thing, captain. Could you imagine you climb on a 747 and I'm your pilot? You should get off immediately, I am not a good pilot. I'm not a good ship's officer. So anyway, the transformation was when I came back from Vietnam in '73, my poor dad said, stay here. And my rich dad said, this is a whole new world over here. So in '73, while I was still flying for the Marine Corps in Hawaii, I went and took a real estate investment course. It cost me $385. That course has made me a multimillionaire over and over and over again. At the same time, my poor dad, to make him happy, I signed up for the MBA program at the University of Hawaii. I lasted like 4 months. I had it, I remember I was sitting in the MBA program and I looked at my notes and they're all blurred. I said, how come my notes are blurred? Well, I had drooled on them. The ink was running all over the place because I was the most boring teacher I ever met my whole life. Oh my God. Oh, it was horrible. So anyway, I dropped out of the MBA program, but I'd already taken real estate here. As I explained the last time, I don't pay anything. That was the best, but this still takes about 5 years to get good at real estate. I could have stayed in the MBA program for 2 or stayed with real estate for 5. I'd be an employee right now working for I don't know who I'd be working for, probably an airline company or something. Or I could be an entrepreneur and on this side. That's the difference here. So what I'm talking about, this tweet here was from Jim Rogers, who's a personal friend of mine. He wrote the book Investment Biker. He's a guy that rode around the world twice. He drove around the world once in his motorcycle. Then he drove around the world in his car. I mean, the guy's got guts, He was part of George Soros's Quantum Fund. And he's a brilliant guy. He lives in Singapore because he wants his daughters to learn Mandarin. And they couldn't learn Mandarin. They couldn't immerse themselves in Mandarin in New York. So he moved his whole family to Singapore just for his daughters to be bilingual in Mandarin. So that's the kind of guy he is. If you ever have a chance to read his books, he's fantastic, very smart guy. But I'll quote you this here. This is from my Twitter video. He says, the real crisis. I'll break down the quote from Jim Rogers. Quote, central banks are made up of bureaucrats and academics. These guys, okay? Jim Rogers and I are over here. That's the difference. And central banks are made of bureaucrats, made of bureaucrats and academics who do not know anything about what they're doing. Sounds like the school system to you? That's what it sounds like to me. They do not know how markets work. They don't know much about the real world because they're all PhD. There's 900 PhDs in the Fed. They're all poor dads. They all need that paycheck. These guys can't save the world. All they want to do is save their jobs. So that's what, just from Jim Rogers, as we're now in this coronavirus and all this catastrophe, and we're all looking for the Fed to save us. So that's what Jim Rogers is saying. The problem is our Fed leaders are over here, but the real world is out here. And most of your school teachers, most of our parents, good people maybe, 80% are good, 20% are scum. But anyway, these guys here don't know the real world of money. And that's the difference. So this here is, this is where Susie Orman and Dave Ramsey operate. They advise these guys. Rich Dad advises out here. And that's why our advisors like tax-free wealth over here, you pay taxes. You like paying taxes, stay there. But if you want to start moving over to this side, which I did in 1972 when I came back, 73 when I came back from Vietnam, this is where I went. So once again, my poor dad wanted to get my MBA, which was here, and maybe my PhD and be like him, or I could have gone here, which was Rich Dad. And this is Warren Buffett and those guys, Jim Rogers. So I think that's the biggest difference of all. It's in your mindset. This world here is unlimited. This world is limited. So as I say, if you're an entrepreneur on this side here, world's unlimited. And I say to all you young people, in 2007, this came out, most powerful tool ever for an entrepreneur, but not for these guys here. They can Twitter and have that fun over here, but this is a different world here. So I'll say it again, I write a book like this book here, and I blow it out to the world. Let me give you the numbers. It's pretty simple. It takes me about a year to write a book, so I'm operating as an S. But the moment I have that book finished with Mona Gambetta, my publicist, we pump it out here. We sell it to about 50 countries throughout the world. So we sell the license. So do I have any cost producing this book in, let's say, Russia? No, because the Russian publisher takes it over. So my net is 100%. But that's the way I think on this side here. Now, I said my friend owns 5 pizza shops. He really doesn't need this here. He can advertise his pizza shop. He's got a lot of competition. And I just blow my books out to this side via what's called a license, and it goes over the world, and I pump my money into here. From here, this is the trick. Let's say I make $1 million here, and then I invest with my buddy and pal, Rich Dad advisor, Kenny McElroy. So let's say the numbers go like this. Let's say I make $1 million from my books, which is pretty easy to do. And it comes down here, and I use debt. So I borrow $4 million in debt. And what that does is it blows my basis up to $5 million. So I own a piece of property now worth $5 million. Because I have $5 million, then my buddy here at Tom Wheelwright, my accountant, tells me, okay, you can appreciate it, depreciate it, and amortize it. So my taxes come out to zero, and I still have the $1 million, and I'm getting the cash flow off the books. So that's how I pay no taxes. It's legal. Everybody can do it all over the world. And the reason I say that is Tom and I travel the world, and Ken and I travel the world, and all of these pencil heads over here, they go, huh? I have a degree in fine arts, and you can't do that here. Now, I can do that here. You can't. See, the problem is who is your teacher, baby? Who is your teacher? And if you're stuck with these old ideas of go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, and invest in a well-diversified portfolio, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETF, you're host. You're small. Your brain is small. Your world is small. So I'll say it again, most powerful tool ever created for an entrepreneur. But if you have a little pencil head brain here, like what Jim Rogers is saying, those guys at the Fed, they have no idea what's going on. Those guys should be not shot, but they should be arrested for incompetence. They're incompetent. They're destroying the world. They're printing, I said in other tweets, they printed between 2000 and 2008, they printed 4.5 trillion to save the rich, to save these guys here. In 2020, it's estimated they'll have to print another 6 to 10 trillion to save the world. It's going to destroy the dollar. It's going to destroy us. But these idiots at the Fed, as Roger says, they're academics and bureaucrats. They're on this side here, trying to work on this side here. So that's what Rogers is saying. So we at Rich Dad, all we're saying to you is, we have books, games, products, tweets, videos, and all this. We're doing our best to open your mind to travel here. And as I've said several times, you don't have to quit your daytime job, but you can come over here, keep your job. Like if you don't like real estate, then there's Andy Tanner who will teach you how to trade the stock market rather than do what invest for the long term. Are you nuts? Markets are going up and down and you're going long term. It's crashing. You're still going to hang on. All of you who are investing for the long term in a 401k, you're about to go down with the Titanic. The 401k just handcuffed you. The IRA just handcuffed you to the railing of the Titanic. You should watch that movie sometime. You'll get a picture of what your 401k is doing to you. So you have a choice. It's a free world. And this is true all over the world, not just the US. You're only limited by what's inside here. So anyway, that's that Twitter, and that's what Jim Rogers is saying. The central bank, they're idiots. They don't know what they're doing. I've said this before. The central bankers are like the wizard and the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Lion went looking for the wizard to save them. So they go to Yellow Brick Road and they get to the wizard, and the wizard is this tiny little guy moving this big illusion out that he's some big guy. Well, that's Ben Bernanke, that's Janet Yellen, and Powell. They're not wizards. They're small little people. They're academics and bureaucrats, exactly as Jim Rogers says. They don't know what they're doing. They can't save the economy. They're trying to save their jobs. That's all.